o'clock today, we have a heat wave going on in Western New York at 24 degrees. You have got to be kidding me. I am sick of the snow, people. It is time for some warmth, some sun. Please, it is definitely time to warm up. We have a lot to talk about in the world of sports at 837-1112. 837-1112. We want to bring you up to date on some good stuff. Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather Jr. set for May 2nd in Las Vegas, the richest fight in history. What? Hey, we've been waiting for this for about 5 to 6 years, isn't it? 5 to 6 years waiting on this great fight. It is going to take place May 2nd in Las Vegas, the highest grossing estimated fight in history. Money Man and the Money Team, Floyd Mayweather. 837-1112, 837-1112. We are definitely streaming on Ustream. You can hear me on TuneIn radio app and www.wufoam.com. We are on till 5 o'clock today. A lot to talk about in the world of sports. Just got a letter from the UFC. We talked to them down on Radio Row at the Super Bowl, and they sent us a very nice letter thanking myself and George Radney from the Challenger. That's what it's about when you cover the Super Bowl. And you want to get out there and put the word out about what you're trying to accomplish here in Western New York. Got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. A lot of movement in the NBA. You can't even keep up with all the movement. All of a sudden it was quiet on Thursday before the trade deadline, and all of a sudden you can't even keep up with all the trades that were made. It just boomed. Reggie Jackson gone. Kendrick Perkins gone. There's too many trades. We're just going to have to look at those. We're going to look at what the Buffalo Bills are doing at the Combine, who they might be looking at. I have my first mock draft. If you're not a friend of mine on Facebook, I did put up the performances so far of the individuals I put on my first mock draft and how they performed at the Combine. These are individuals I'm hoping the Buffalo Bills will select. In what other order they can get them. The Bills have very limited picks because of some of the moves they made last year. But there's some quality people out there that I think could help this team if we take a look at them. Some of the people that I've put up there I believe can help this football team. 837-1112, 837-1112. We have a lot to talk about. I have my new article is up on my Facebook page, also on the Downtown Stadium Project page, and also in the Know blog space for WFOAM.com, our radio station page. I ask you to take a look at that as we are still trying to progress in a positive manner with the building of the Outer Harbor Stadium Entertainment Complex. This is a project that is being held up here in Western New York by private interests. And I refer to them now as the group, because they're a group that want to maintain control over all development and economics here in Western New York. And they have held up a private investment project that would benefit all people of Western New York. So as the mayor was talking about during his speech, he wants to see this great economic boom benefit everybody. Well, it's not benefiting everybody in Western New York, because there are certain people that are trying to control the economy here in Western New York as far as development, businesses. They will not allow you to bring forth outside entities in here to produce economic projects that would benefit this area, because if they can't control them, they will not allow you to do them. And they have been very uncooperative in regards to the stadium and entertainment project and proposal that is a private investment proposal that does not require the tax aid that many of the other projects that seem to be welcomed with open arms here in Western New York. This one has been held up by private interests, who I now refer to as the group. So before you can move forward in Western New York and Buffalo, we have to take away the power of this group. And the only way we can do that is if we begin to work together. And we also must put pressure on all of our so-called elected leaders that they must begin to lead. You cannot ask for fairness and equity for everyone if you're not willing to fight for it. Talking about it does nothing here, because we've talked about it for years. But you have a project that would create 8,000 to 15,000 living wage jobs. And I beg to differ that this city or this region is in an economic boom. How can you be in an economic boom when 40% of your population lives below the poverty level? That's not an economic boom, man. That's an economic nightmare. So I just don't see it. I see certain individuals creating a utopic society that fits a certain group of people with the use of tax dollars and are not being challenged. And these are recreational, sports-related activities. I have never seen a proliferation of so many hockey rinks. And I don't have a problem with that. Build as many as you want. But be fair in how the money is distributed so that it benefits all. Not everyone is running to get on a hockey rink or an ice skating pot or whatever they call those. I mean, it's just not fair. There is not a fairness here with the spending of tax dollars. And before there is fairness, we have to challenge those that are putting forth these policies that hurt a huge portion of the population here in Western New York. Now, the private investment proposal for the stadium would benefit all. It's a private investment proposal. It creates 8,000 to 15,000 living wage jobs. And that would benefit all. It would create a tourist attraction that would cause other entities, such as what Brother Charlie Fisher was talking about earlier, to come into this area. But as long as we are being handicapped by who I call the group and their control over economic policies and development, I've been contacted by various developers around the country that are paying close attention to our battle because they know what the battle here is in Western New York and Buffalo. That they don't want outside money coming in. They don't want outside money coming in because they can't control it. So this is our fight now. And also, I hear you, we have to do certain things that go against the norm and change the way we do things. I believe all organizations need to begin pledging 10% of their intake to a cooperative mutual fund that will fund businesses in our community. That is the only way you're going to get it done. And until we have the discipline to demand our organizations do that, you can't ask people for change. You got to create it yourself. Now, if you're giving your organizations $100 to $200 a year, you should say, out of my $200 I'm giving you, I want $20 to go to upstart the economy of our community. What's wrong with that? If a church can ask you for 10%, why can't 10% go towards the independence of our community? That's what we're talking about here today. I want to talk to you at 837-1112, 837-1112. We're going to go to a break. And then we will come back. We're going to get Don Patterson on to talk about the Golden Gloves. And we will also try to talk about what is going on at the NFL Combine. Some of the players I've been keeping a close watch of that I think could benefit us here in Buffalo. And also we will be looking at the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight to see if this is going to be the fight of the century. But we're going to take a short break and be right back here on the #1 sports show in the nation. Okay, we're back here on the #1 sports show in the nation. We are looking for the mighty Don Patterson. He is the commissioner of the Golden Gloves here in Western New York. And they have got a great lineup coming up next week. Don, are you with me?
I'm with you. How you doing?
Hey, man.
You're on the #1 sports show in the nation.
#1 sports show in the nation. Don, let me first congratulate you on an outstanding Golden Gloves event. That's the first one I've attended, and I tell you, I'm not going to miss any more. I promise you that.
Well,
23 great fights.
To come out and finally witness what goes on.
23 great fights. I don't know. Hey, can you just tell, before we get started, tell the listening audience how they can get tickets. They got to be there. You do not want to miss the Golden Glove Championships next week.
You can get tickets at the Trout box office. You can get them at Doris Records. You can also get them online at Ticketmaster, as well as Karuba Collision on Delaware Avenue. Tickets are still available. There's still good seats. Ringside seats are still available. And I'm glad you were finally there to witness what goes on. I know you're a great boxing fan, and you've come to some of the fights in the past, but you hadn't been to that venue, to the Golden Gloves yet. And so I think you got a different feel to see the level of competition, the hard work, the determination, all those guys vying, trying to be Golden Glove champions, and how much Buffalo came out in support of it.
Oh, it was packed. Packed. It was packed, man. And I love how you put my frat brother John Elmore to work.
Oh, yeah. John for us for the last few years. We appreciate John and all the guys from USA Boxing, all the officials, the coaches, and the boxers who dedicate their time, experience, dealing with these kids. And that's what it's all about. You got
my man Jimmy Phelps and George Alexander.
Oh, yeah. Big Jim is a great asset for us. George, all those guys are great officials for USA Boxing and the Golden Gloves. They're some of our Golden Gloves officials, and they judge the fights fairly, they referee the fights fairly, and they're there to give those kids some support and guidance. And without them, the dedicated volunteers for the Golden Gloves, we don't have these tournaments for these kids.
Well, I tell you, I was shocked. The many times I've been to the trough, I was wondering how you were going to have that set up to give that boxing feel. And let me tell you, I have to congratulate you. I felt like I was in one of those old-fashioned sweat boxes, and I was shocked how nice the trough really fares for the accommodation of the Golden Gloves. They do an outstanding job, and I want to congratulate you on that.
Yeah, we thank Tom Marone over there and his crew, and my guys, Joe Riverside at Allentown Pizza. If you think about it, go get a slice. He's one of the guys that has that sets everything up over there for me. Does an outstanding job. And as you can see, when you get there, you feel like you're in there watching one of the greats. in the boxing. That environment, that atmosphere is what it's all about.
Awesome atmosphere, Don. Awesome atmosphere. Now tell me, who should we look forward to seeing next week?
Well, next week we're going to have some outstanding matches. We'll have some of the previous champions will be defending, going up against some tough competition. 165, Will Mount Woods has been one of the premier fighters in this area for a while. We'll be fighting again at 165. And UB Tennessee Akaradulu will be fighting in separate bouts. And so you want to see those two guys. They're two of the guys that are primed. They put on an outstanding final out last year that was just a barn burner. You'll see the 132 division. Some of the sub-novice 132 will be fighting some of the new guys. You have a lot of young Buffalo guys coming up, as well as the heavyweights. We have Eric Rogers will be fighting again, Rico Hernandez from Rochester Firefighter. So it's going to be an outstanding night of boxing, but one of the main things that's going to happen is we have some of the female bouts, which is always, I don't know how it happens, but they always end up getting fight of the night when they fight. We have the return of Wendy Casey from UB.
Okay.
From UB Boxing, Costanza, Casey Costanza from Casals Boxing, Niagara Falls. And this is going to be a great fight. They've been, I think Casey won the female Golden Glove down last year in Florida. And Wendy is a former national level fighter, and this is going to be a tremendous fight. If anyone was there to witness some of the female fights that we have, they're just barn burners. And so that's going to be featured in this bout, as well as a Masters bout featuring Dennis Romanowski, who's a sheriff deputy here in Buffalo, a friend of mine who I work with, against Chip Swanson from Jamestown. They fought 2 years ago in a great fight, had the crowd standing up, and they're coming back to do it again to see who's got better. So we have the wide range of boxing. We have the male Golden Glove, we have the female fighters, and we also have the Masters division. So we're getting people primed for that featured match that was anticipated as much as the Mayweather Pacquiao fight with you and Joe Major that's going to happen.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm thinking about asking Joe Major to move back, and we can get it on. You know,
we gotta make that happen.
I mean, he came on the show after you went off last time, and you know, we had a good conversation, but we still have to settle business in the square circle.
Well, sometimes these things take a while, as we know with the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. It took a while to get things together, but it's going to happen.
How about me and Warren Sapp? You want to put that fight together?
I would love to put that together.
Seeing he doesn't have a job.
I think he thought
he needs a whooping.
How to behave.
Yes,
yeah.
He needs a whooping. Yeah. He doesn't know how to act. Now, Don, you are my perennial boxing expert. Tell me, you had to have the feeling a few weeks ago that it was finally going to get done. And yesterday it was announced that the Pacquiao-Mayweather mega fight is going to happen. What were your feelings?
Well, like you said, it's time that it was going to happen. I think circumstances bring things to a point where it's now or never, and I think that's what it came down to. It was obviously tough negotiations when you're going through that, but I think that we're going to see a good fight. It's going to be much anticipated. I'm sure based on all the speculation that's going on now, it'll be the richest fight in history, given the timing of it.
Right.
Pacquiao still commands the level of interest where people believe that he's the guy that can defeat Floyd. And Floyd is still at what people would consider the top of the game. No one has beaten him. He is pound for pound on the top of pretty much everyone's list. And so this is still a great fight. And the general public is interested.
No question.
And so this is going to be a great attraction. If you've ever been to a Mayweather fight, they're huge. The amount of commerce that they bring to Las Vegas when it happens is tremendous. And this is going to be the biggest ever. They're talking about a pay-per-view price of $85 to $99 for high definition.
Wow!
It's gonna do the largest numbers probably of any boxing event ever.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. I cannot wait. Who do you think is going to be on the undercard?
At this point, you really don't know. We'll wait until that. Mayweather has the guys that they put on that's in his camp. I really don't know yet, but I think they'll put together a strong undercard given the magnitude of the fight. You're talking about they're gonna talk about $3,000 being the secondary market ticket. So
wow!
This is going to be a huge event. It's going to generate dollars that show that boxing is still king and alive and well.
Oh, this is a big fight for boxing. And I think boxing is starting to make a little bit of a comeback. Tell me about next week. I just love the atmosphere with the local people, Don. I was amazed. It was standing room only for almost the entire night.
Well, it's really a great event. And as we've talked in the past, what boxing does for young people is what any sport or positive activity does. And we're glad that the people of Buffalo, their families, their friends come out and support. And it's a great sporting event, as you now have witnessed. And then the environment is great. The crowd come there. You can have something great to eat. They have great wings. The atmosphere is great. You'll be right up and close to the fight. That's the thing. There's not a bad seat in the house.
No.
There's not a bad seat in the house, and the action is incredible. So we thank again our sponsor, Joe Caruba's Collision on Delaware. You can get your tickets from there. Norris Records, the Trout box office, and it's just going to be a great fight. We have all the clubs from across the state that compete in this event. The Golden Gloves, as you know, has been around since the 1920s, and the tradition goes on. Everyone has an uncle or a grandfather who fought in this great tournament. The greatest champions in the world have come out of it, including Floyd Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, all those guys. And this is in that tradition, And if you come there and you watch how hard these guys work, you'll know that this builds character. Like you say, we have great people working along with it. John Elmore,
Right.
Duffy, Jimmy Belt. These guys, George, these guys were prominent members of the community. State troopers, lawyers, guys who have the best interests of our kids and of the community of Buffalo at hand. And they're there not only to officiate, but also to mentor these kids. So that's what it's all about. And we're great to have you on board. You've always supported us, and we really appreciate it.
100% behind you, Don. Let me ask you something, too. If a parent had a young man at 12 or 13 years of age and they wanted to get into boxing, what should they do?
Well, they can either go online. There's an email, buffalogoldenglove@live.com. Send me an email. Send me your phone number. I'll get back to you. I did get the call from George, and we'll be talking to the young man. And if he's interested in the sport, we'll get him involved.
Well, that's what I told him. I said, hey, Don is serious. And if this young man is really interested, I'm sure that Don is interested in grooming good people for the sweet science.
We want any young person who has an interest in the sport, wants to get involved, wants to compete. We're willing to work with. They'll come in, we'll talk to them, we'll let them know that this is a serious sport. It takes a level of dedication that anything that you want to be successful in takes. Some kids like football, some like chess class,
you mean you cannot be a great boxer in front of the TV playing those games, right?
Well, but these days, I guess you can be a great, I think they even call them gamers. There's a place for that.
But you got to put the work in. Yeah, you got to put the work in.
It's hard. It's work. But if it's what you like to do, it's fun. It's like anything else. It's just like the same reason you're there every week delivering the #1 show in the nation to the sports. It's your passion. It's your love. It's something that you give back to the community. I know you've done this for years, and you're great at it because of what it means to you. And that's with anything. That's how come you're successful. You want to pass that on to these kids.
Definitely. Don, did Buff State win? I know you were at the game.
I'm not at the game. I was watching it online, and no, Buck State didn't win. We ended up tying it up at the end with seconds left, and we ended up dropping it. And it was a tough loss, but Buck State is still in the playoffs. They had clinched the playoff berth last night. This would have got us a home game, I believe, but it was a hard-fought game. I saw the guys fight to the end, battle back from the deficit to tie it up, but came up short. But we hope, well, we know that Coach Vaz will get these guys back, get their heads together, get them ready for Tuesday, and hopefully they can move forward, get far in these playoffs, hopefully go all the way.
Yes, sir. I'd like to see them go as far as they can. Again, Coach Fadri is one of my favorite people also. Don, can you just put out where people can get tickets to the Golden Gloves?
Yes. The Buffalo Golden Gloves tickets, February 28th at the Trout. You can pick up tickets at the Trout box office or Doris Records on Ferry, one of the great institutions in our community, as well as Karuba Collision on Delaware Avenue. Our sponsor, Karuba Collision on Delaware Avenue, has done a great job. Go over there and see them guys for some tickets. And with this weather going on, if you get a dent in your car, they're the guys to see as well.
All right, Don Patterson, I appreciate you being here with me again. Look forward to seeing you Saturday at the Traufometer for the Golden Gloves. What time does it get started, Don?
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
How many fights?
Right now, I believe we're looking at, it'll probably end up being between 15 and 20.
Man, that's a great day of boxing.
Oh, yeah. It'll be a great show. And like I said, we got this time, we don't normally have the males boxing, we have the females boxing, and our masters. So it's going to be a great night.
Oh, that's awesome. I look forward to it again. Don, you do a great job with the Golden Gloves. Can you just put out where people can get tickets one more time for me?
Sure. Tickets are available at the Trout box office, at Doris Records on Ferry, and Karuba Collision on Delaware, as well as online at Ticketmaster. For the Buffalo Golden Gloves, February 28th, 5 o'clock at the Trout. It's going to be a great night of boxing. Golden Glove champions will be vying for that big title.
Hey, I have one other question for you, Don. Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
What are your thoughts on Deontay Wilder, the first American heavyweight champion in a number of years?
I tell you what, I'm pretty high on Dante. I had an opportunity to see him through the amateurs. I was there when he fought in Connecticut with the Olympic team, and I think you had an opportunity to see him in that fight use his tools very well. He has a great jab, he has size, and I think that he's going to be a great champion. He has Mark Breland training him, one of the greatest fighters to ever come out of our country, the greatest amateur probably that ever lived in the world. And if Mark can get him to throw that jab like he threw it, we're going to have an outstanding champion on our hands, which is what boxing needs.
Did you see the picture I had with him from the Super Bowl?
I did. Did you, you got to see him at the Super Bowl, huh?
Yeah, we talked for a while. He spoke with myself and George Radney from the Challenger for a while, and he told me he broke his hand in the 4th round. So as a trainer, you know that's a lot of heart for a guy to fight 8 rounds with a broken hand.
Yeah, you know, but that's boxing.
Yeah.
You know, that's a part of it, and the guys who can will themselves to the victory, amidst adversity, that's what a champion is.
Yeah,
and that's what we want to teach these kids in the Golden Glove. Everybody's not going to win, but if you can go in there and face that challenge, climb up those stairs, meet that fear head on, you can overcome anything you run against in life. And that's what it's all about. That's what you see a champion like him do with a broken hand. When Ali had a broken jaw against Kid North in the second round, it continues to fight.
Right.
These things are things that the adversity is what makes champions.
No doubt about it. Yeah, he was very nice too, Don. A very impressive young man.
Great guy. He actually fell asleep maybe a couple of minutes before his fight was about to go off, and Jim Gray was laughing, and joking about it. He said, well, being from the South, we're pretty easygoing. He has a great personality, and a great work ethic by his accomplishment. So I was really proud to see him win that fight. It was a great fight for him. The guy kept pressure on him the whole time. He used that jab great amidst the adversity with the right hand, but he got this victory, and I think he's going to be a good champion.
No doubt about it. Thanks, Don. We'll see you on Saturday at the Golden Gloves. One more time, put it out there. Where can people get tickets?
Tickets for February 28th, Saturday, at the Trout Golden Gloves, box office, the Trout.
George from the Challengers on
record on Ferry and Karuba Collision on Delaware, as well as Ticketmaster online. You can get your tickets. Still some great tickets left. They're going to feature some of our great clubs here in Buffalo and around the state. UB Boxing, Northwest Buffalo Community Center, and the other programs around the city that are competing.
All right. I look forward to it, Don. You do a great job with the Golden Gloves. Everybody, you need to take some time out of your schedule. Go to the Golden Gloves. This is one of the great sporting events in Western New York. I'm telling you, the Trifomidor, it is an awesome environment. I hope to see all of you down there on next Saturday after the #1 sports show in the nation. Thanks a lot, Don.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me. Keep up the great work.
Always a pleasure, my brother. All right, we're going to take a short break and be right back here on the #1 sports show in the nation. 837-1112. 837-1112 is the number. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the NFL Combine? NBA, many transactions before the trade deadline. What are your thoughts? Who do you think the Buffalo Bills should take? Should they go make a run at Sam Bradford? Sam Bradford is an accomplished starting quarterback, but he has an injury bug. Should they make a run if the offer is right? It's a question. You're going to need a veteran backup quarterback or starter here with or without E.J. Manuel. So you're going to sign somebody. Who should they sign? We'll be back after this break on the #1 sports show in the nation. Woo!
He hung up.
He hung up?
So you just got George.
Okay. Okay, we're back here on the #1 sports show in the nation. Received a letter today from UFC commissioner. Said they wanted to let myself and George Radney know how much they appreciated our time with them at the Super Bowl on Radio Row in Phoenix. And they're hoping to get into New York, since we are now putting some of the criminals in jail that have been blocking UFC from coming into New York State. And that's what they told us. They said Sheldon Silver has been blocking UFC from coming into New York State. Big pay-per-view market, but they've been blocked from coming into New York. All right, who's on the line with me?
Hey, you're absolutely right. Hey, they've been blocking for many years.
Yeah, hey, and that's what they told us, right, George?
Yes, they did. They took them this Johnson, he did sign, like he told us, he said it was going to be early May. It's going to be May 9th at the MGM Grand. Demetrius Johnson versus John Bones Jones for the light heavyweight championship of the world, of the UFC.
Oh, is that Anthony Johnson?
It's Demetrius. Isn't it Demetrius?
I thought it was Anthony.
Anthony? It might be Anthony. I'm thinking Demetrius, but it could be Anthony. I don't have my notes right in front of me. I apologize if I might have made a mistake on his name, on his first name.
Well, let me Google him real quick. I'll Google him. I know there was a Demetrius we met also.
Yeah, I think that's who it is. Demetrius.
Is it Demetrius or Anthony Anthony?
I believe it's Demetrius, though.
Well, if they'd let him in New York State, we wouldn't have this problem, right?
And he would be fighting John Jones probably at Madison Square Garden.
Right. We got an interview we got to play.
So
Jones versus Johnson for the 187 title. It's Anthony Johnson.
Oh, it is Anthony Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Demetrius was the other guy.
Oh, Demetrius was the other guy.
Right. But blame it on Sheldon Silver. Whatever you didn't know, blame it on Sheldon. Sheldon does not want UFC fighting in New York State, according to the UFC commissioner. So,
it's a lot of revenue that they have lost.
Huge.
By having people that having New York State be a paper place. It may have worked in the old days, but not anymore. And we have lost an awful lot of championship UFC title bouts to Toronto. Toronto, they had 3 or 4 of them. Over 60,000 people at the
Air Canada Center, right?
Right. No, they've been at the Air Canada Center, and they also been to the larger where the baseball team went, the Rogers Center.
On the Rogers Center.
Yeah,
Wow, that's incredible.
Well.
Right, that's incredible. And it's a shame, and hopefully they get some of the corruption out of here. We just have to hope for the best. But New York State is some of the politics that has gone on here, as you well know, has hampered a lot of what we've been involved with, especially with the stadium complex proposal. Now, you saw in Los Angeles that they have now put forth a proposal that the Raiders and the Chargers are going to cooperate on a new stadium in Carson, California, on a 168-acre site. And that's something people need to realize. The 3 sites that they put forth in the city are too small. They don't fit the revenue formula that the NFL needs for these markets to survive. And the sites that they've put forth in the city are ridiculously too small.
Yeah.
And you need the Outer Harbor is the only real site. It's shovel ready and it's large enough to accommodate the revenue engine necessary to keep a sports franchise in Western New York.
You're absolutely right, Mighty Opa. And the problem is, like you just said, they still do conducting business like it's 1970. The business has changed, the models have changed. They still thinking they can just take a stadium like the Rock Pile up there on Jefferson Avenue and take something and build something a little bigger than that and be done with it, because they want to do something else with their downtown, and they're just cookie cutter stadium into somewhere in the Buffalo area. But that's not how it goes, and it's a shame that they're so ignorant to the fact of how business is conducted outside of New York State, and thinking that the public or businesses that come into New York State, they're going to have to bow down to the way you've been doing business there since the 70s. And that's why businesses aren't coming, and that's why things aren't moving as quickly as they should have in Western New York. Absolutely
right. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. You have a private investment proposal that's been sitting on the table, and we're talking about an economic boom in a city that is one of the poorest cities in America. I've never heard of an economic boom in one of the poorest cities in America. The two don't go together, do they?
No, they don't, not at all. And it's amazing that people aren't jumping at it. And you'd be surprised if you were in a city that is an economic boom and something like this is coming up. They would jump on it so fast and jump on it and sign it up and go with it. Heck, the stadium would be halfway built by now.
Yeah, I mean, look at Minnesota. We were ahead of Minnesota, if you remember. The same people we're working with to build the stadium here, the stadium complex here, are building the complex in Minnesota. And they've already been scheduled for a Final Four and a Super Bowl. Where Buffalo, you got people telling you you can't have it. But until that so-called one-horse town newspaper says that it's okay, you won't believe it's okay. You don't believe George Radney from the Challenger. You don't believe Pat Freeman from WUFO and the Buffalo Criterion. What we say is secondary until the other paper says, boy, they could be right. Remember years ago, we were having conversations on this program about building a stadium, whereas the other people were saying, oh, we don't need a stadium. Nobody needs a stadium. We're good at the Ralph Wilson Stadium. Now they're saying you got to have a stadium. But when we were saying it on our own, we didn't know what we were talking about. Am I right?
You're 1,000% correct. We didn't know what we were talking about, where you get your information from. You don't know what's going on. And here we are talking to the commissioner, Roger Goodell. We're talking to the major players in the front office of the NFL's office there in New York City. And none of these people in Buffalo and West York are talking to them at all. No,
it's ridiculous. I remember in the press box when you said we should have taken Teddy Bridgewater, they wanted to jump all over you. I'm like, why not? It makes sense to take a quarterback every year.
It does. Until you get it right. Until you get it right, take a quarterback each year and go from there.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's always quarterbacks available. Try them out and kick the tires like you do with a car. And if it doesn't work out, move on.
Right. Absolutely. Now, George, let me ask you this. Would you take a chance on Sam Bradford if they only want a low-round draft choice? Would you take that type of chance?
You know what? He's very questionable because I heard you earlier. I really don't think he's accomplished that much. And he looks like he can play. He did against the Bills. I mean, everybody looked like they could play against the Bills when he came in here and defeated the Bills a couple of years ago. He looked good. But to me, he doesn't have mobility. You got to be able to move in today's game. And plus, once he gets in, he seems to be quite injury prone. Last year, he was injured without being in.
Yeah.
I would pass on Sam Bradford.
A lot of people have said that. I don't blame them. I think you got to look at it. You know what I mean? I mean, that you have to do your due diligence. And that's what Doug Whaley's job is. If you were contacted by his agent, you've got to look at it and see if it fits. Just like Josh McCown. You bring Josh McCown in. Hey, you're supposed to bring him in. See what he says, see how he looks, work him out. And it might not fit, but at least you're looking. At least you're not settling for what you got. One year we come in here under Buddy Nix, and he brings in nobody.
Nobody.
You know?
He didn't draft nobody. He didn't bring him.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, at least they're doing their due diligence, and that's a good sign. You've got to sign a veteran in here somewhere, and you look at that list. That list is not that great. I mean, there are some serviceable guys, but you're not going to get much better than Josh McCown. I don't.
Josh McCown's arm isn't
No.
that good. I would not bring him to Buffalo because he's not strong enough. I'd get Ryan Fitzpatrick before I get Josh McCown.
Right. Is Ryan a free agent? Is he on that list?
I don't think so.
I don't think he. I think he's still with Houston.
He has one more year, but Houston's trying to move in another direction. So
Yeah.
if Malik can stay healthy.
Well, he's a free agent. Malik is a free agent. So
I think Houston will keep him because they really don't know what they have.
that's right. You don't. I mean, and he does know the offense that you're running, so that could be a possibility. Now, have you been watching the combine?
I just started watching today. It's very interesting. We have a kid yesterday, a kid from around here from Hobart, Ali Moffett, ran the fastest 40 for an offensive lineman.
Okay.
And he's from Hobart, and now they're talking about him maybe moving into the second, third round.
Excellent. Excellent.
He's the first player ever out of Hobart, which is in Geneva, which is right on the lake, Seneca on the lake in wine country.
Right.
Way. And this kid is he's from outside of Albany, New York. And he said when he realized when he ran his junior year, when he ran the 40 and saw over in them, a Division III school.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, my running back that I had the Bills taking in the latter rounds, I don't know if he's going to be there. He's looking pretty good. Jay Ajayi from Boise State. You familiar?
Oh, yeah, he's very good.
Yeah. They compare him to Marshawn Lynch.
I heard that.
Yeah. He's compared to Marshawn Lynch. He's 6 foot, 221 pounds. He ran a 4.57 40, which is respectable for a guy of that size. And, you know, hey, I'm hoping he slips to the Bills, because that's the guy you always need in the AFC East. You always want a physical running back. You know, I think that's why Fred Jackson has been successful, even getting up in age. And I think C.J. Spiller, if they would have used him and the combination of Fred the right way, he probably would have done a lot better under Doug Marrone, don't you think?
Oh, definitely. All he had to do was just throw him the ball. He's not a pure running back. He's a hybrid back. You got to give him the ball. He's like Darren Sproles. Give him the ball. Give him the ball in space. Like even Seattle in the Super Bowl, when you said they needed to throw the ball to Marshawn Lynch, when they finally threw it to him,
Great zone, too.
he was able to make a big play out of that pass play.
Right, absolutely. I think that Super Bowl is going to play in people's heads for a long, long time.
People still have to about it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, people just still can't believe Seattle lost that game.
Nah, unbelievable. Hey, Greg, you on the line?
Yes, sir.
Hey, did you?
Hey, Greg.
Hey, you heard Don Patterson talking to you, right, when I had him on?
I didn't hear him, but I did talk with him, and Don, if you can hear me, thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir.
Might have a young heavyweight champion. George, are you coming up for the Golden Gloves?
No, next week, 28th, no, unfortunately, it looks like I won't be able to make it up to football next weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot going on. Golden Gloves. Hey, I tell you what, if you have an opportunity to go to the Golden Gloves, if you want to see an old-fashioned styled boxing environment that is close-knit and you can feel the energy of the fighters and the crowd in the auditorium there, it is awesome. I enjoyed every second of it, and I can't wait till next week. Now, what do you guys think about all these NBA moves?
Very good. Yeah, it's good. It makes the game exciting. It's going to make for an excellent final fantastic finish.
You know what got me? At 3 o'clock, I'm listening to the NBA Network on Sirius, and I'm waiting to see if there's any move. They're like, well, we don't. It's kind of quiet. It's not going to be too many more moves. All of a sudden, boom! We just got this. We just got this. And then I'm like, man, I got to get online. I can't keep up with all this going on.
Now, you know what the move that I'm kind of upset at Milwaukee for doing it, although I understand it. I don't know if I'd have got rid of him. I don't know.
Well, what was his contract status?
I don't know the contract status, but he's a young 24-year-old that has a nice offensive repertoire in the paint.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there thinking, with Milwaukee building the team the way that they're building it with Jersey kids, I don't know. But since it's been done, that's going to be a great pickup for OKC, man.
No question. No question. I think OKC came out very well.
Oh, yeah, but I thought Reggie Jackson was a key contributor to them off the bench.
Totally unhappy. Totally unhappy this year. He was totally different. He was totally different this year, George.
Oh, really?
Yeah, totally disgruntled. He wanted to start. And as long as Westbrook is playing at the level he's playing, he's not going to beat out Westbrook. He got an opportunity to prove himself in Detroit and see if he's worth a big contract. That'll be his opportunity with Stan Van Gundy. But he was totally discontent with, I think they were happy to see Reggie go. And I was kind of hurt about that because we went to see them and covered them in Toronto, and I thought he played very well. That's probably what George is referring to, because he's an excellent player. And excellent personality. He made sure that we got a good interview from him where, you know, NBA players are kind of temperamental. They don't like giving interviews all the time. But Reggie Jackson was very accommodating when we were in Toronto covering the Raptors against OKC.
And I'm going to tell y'all straight up, if one of them don't get hurt for the season in Detroit, when they're in the truth, if Reggie Jackson is there, they don't lose all them games at the beginning of the season that they lost.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I was surprised. Were you surprised that Philly let Michael Carter go?
I was.
I was kind of.
Wrong with their front office.
It's got to be.
They don't let way too many good players leave.
This guy was a good player, man. If you're building, you know, a nice program, I was a little shocked with that. You know, it just didn't make any sense. You know, I understand.
They got a lot of picks coming from like the next 2-3 years, too.
Yeah.
They got a lot of them, man. Can't get rid of your big soon as you draft them. I mean, they got rid of him and they got rid of the kid, Drew. We saw him with, when New Orleans, when we were in New Orleans, we saw New Orleans play.
Oh, Drew Holiday. Yeah, Drew Holiday.
Yeah, he was a very good player. I couldn't believe Philly got rid of him.
Well, I remember him telling you the story. He said he walked to practice and they said, "Hey, you've been traded."
Right.
You know?
He said, "What? You can win."
I don't know what's going on in Philly. I'm sure that fan base there is rabid, so they better get that together. All right, hey, fellas, we're out of time.
All right.
Man, already. Hey, we are out of time here on the #1 sports show in the nation. We will be back here next Saturday, Golden Gloves weekend. Get your tickets, Trafalmador. Meet me there, 5 o'clock next week. That's all for us here on the #1 sports show in the nation. We'll see you next week, right here, #1 sports show in the nation.